again, welcome to this afternoon's presentation. And as I stated earlier, I'll be going over some information about financial aid. Oops. The goal of today is to give you an overview of financial aid. Some of the information I share will be specific to Carolina, but a lot of it can be applied broadly to the aid process in general. I always encourage you to explore the websites and reach out to the school of your interest to you, as some processes can vary, although many may be the same. We're going to walk through the process of all the ways that you can apply for financial aid, ways you can use your aid to afford funding your education, and what to expect out of the process, and some tips to leave you along the way. Before we dive in, I want to share with you briefly about our mission at Carolina, which is our goal is to uphold the mission of the university and make a significant financial commitment to need-based aid. Nearly half of UNC students receive some form of financial aid. To begin the financial aid process for UNC Chapel Hill, you have to complete the financial aid application, which is the FAFSA, pronounced FAFSA. And the website for that FAFSA is FAFSA.gov, and it is free to all applicants. There have been many websites that have .edu, .com, .org at the end. But when you get to the end, after you complete the application, it says, hey, you've completed the FAFSA, but you owe us $75. Well, if you all heard me at the beginning, the first F stands for free, so you wouldn't have to pay anybody any amount to complete the FAFSA. It's an online application that can also be completed on your mobile phone. For me in our school, we encourage students to complete it on a laptop or a computer because it'd be easier to read, because there may be more screens to review if you do it on your phone. The FAFSA for the upcoming academic year to 2021-2022 opened up on October 1st, and it opens every academic year on October 1st. So at 12 a.m. October 1st, you get your parents' prior tax information to complete the FAFSA. I just mentioned about prior. For this upcoming academic year, you'll be using your parents' 2019 tax information to complete the 2021 FAFSA. UNC Chapel Hill's priority deadline is March 1st. And this application is to complete it yearly for need-based aid, or if you wish to borrow federal loans. You do not need to complete the FAFSA if you do not want to be considered for financial aid. In addition to the FAFSA, we also encourage students to complete the CSS Profile. It determines eligibility for institutional need-based aid. Not all schools are required to complete that or encourage students to complete it. The website for the CSS Profile is cssprofile.collegeboard.org. It opens the same day as the FAFSA does, October 1st. Again, for the CSS Profile priority deadline is March 1st, and it uses prior tax year information. There is a fee to complete the CSS Profile, but if you reach out to our financial aid office and you're having trouble to paying for that, then we will offer a fee waiver where you will not have to pay for the CSS Profile. Now, this is a breakdown of the cost of attendance for this current academic year, and it's based on averages, and it's a guide for you to use for the maximum aid offer. Now, this does not include what your actual bill is, but it's a breakdown to give you an idea of what may be included on your direct charges. And it's broken down by North Carolina and out-of-state residents. On the first three items, tuition and fees, on-campus housing, and meal plans, those are direct costs, meaning that once you sign up for your classes, you choose a housing where you want to reside whenever you attend college, and your meal plan that you're interested in receiving, then you are directly billed from the college. And estimated costs for this year are $20,702. What are indirect costs, charges that you may not see on your bill, are books and supplies, travel, personal, loan fees. The loan fees are up there in case you get student loans. If you do not get student loans, then you won't have to worry about that loan fee. And the internet tech allowance fee. We added that this year because, as you all are aware, that because of the pandemic, a lot of students have had to either leave campus and move back home or live off campus in an apartment. And so to help them with the internet service, we've offered that to students to help them stay on track and make sure they complete their assignments as they're supposed to in a timely manner. So determining financial aid. Financial aid is determined based on the information found on the FAFSA. And once the information is sent to the different universities that you choose, and you can choose up to 10 per FAFSA. As I mentioned earlier, you have the cost of attendance minus the EFC. That figure comes from the actual FAFSA and is sent to the school once we receive your information about the FAFSA. And then you subtract the EFC from the cost of attendance, and then you get your financial need. At Carolina, we meet the financial need through a combination of grants, loans, and work study, which we will talk more about in just a moment. Now, there are several ways that you or your parents can help pay for your college education. Some of the ways are need-based financial aid, non-need-based financial aid, family resources, outside scholarships, and payment plans. Keep in mind that no two situations are the same, and you should find what works best for you as far as ways to pay for your college education. So some of the need-based aids that I will discuss are grants. Grants are free money that do not have to be paid back. Both the Pell and university are two different types of grants. The Pell is federal, which is derived from the information provided on the FAFSA, and the university is information that we receive from the CSS Profile. Work study. The work study, as one of the gentlemen mentioned earlier, is a way that students can work while they're in school and gain experience while they're in school. Students can usually work up to 20 hours if your program of study allows that. We strongly encourage students to work the minimum so that they still remain successful, and also you'll have the opportunity to get a job that may be in your field, and it's also a resume builder. At UNC Chapel Hill, our students are paid bi-weekly once they complete their hours in their work study. I know for this academic year, the max that a student can receive is $3,000. So that's $1,500 for the fall, $1,500 from the spring. But we strongly encourage that students work a minimum of 10 to 12 hours. Again, we understand that you're a student first, and we want you to be successful in your classroom. Loans. Loans are based on need, and they are a type of financial aid. But the difference between loans and grants is that they accrue interest, and which means they grow while you're in school. One of the types of loans that students may be eligible for is a subsidized loan, which is federally funded. Currently, the interest rate is 2.75%, and every July 1 of the upcoming academic year, the interest rate changes. So it may be a little bit higher for this July 1, 2021, or it may change and be reduced at a lower level than a 2.75. We also have a UNC loan, which is institutional, and the interest rate for 6 months after graduation is fixed at 5%. Again, these are loans, and they have to be repaid once you leave the university. We hope that you leave the university with a diploma in hand, but we understand sometimes that students may have to leave for other reasons. But just be mindful of the loans and how much you take out. Outside scholarships is another type of financial aid that students use. They can be from your job. I know that sometimes some jobs may offer scholarships. I think in the past I've heard of students receiving a scholarship from Taco Bell or McDonald's or wherever they may work. It could be from your community, could be from businesses. It could also come from your church. It doesn't matter the amount. If you are receiving an outside scholarship, you have to notify our office, and then we'll gladly add it to your financial aid award letter. Now, Carolina Covenant, that is something that is just for our schools. There are other institutions that may have something that is similar to the Carolina Covenant, but it's a debt-free award. And debt-free means that you do not have any student loans. It's a no separate application to be considered for it, but we will verify application information. It's based on AGI and asset criteria, and it includes a component of social programming, academic support, and mentorship. Non-need-based aid includes loans as well, and those loans could be in the form of a federal unsubsidized student loan and a Parent Plus loan. Those that information comes from the FAFSA, and those are the unsubsidized loan is offered to students, and they have to accept it in order to receive those. Again, just like the subsidized loan, the current interest rate is 2.75. The Parent Plus loan is slightly different from the subsidized and unsubsidized because it is a parent loan. Parents are responsible for paying that loan back, and before they would have to pay it back, they would have to complete an application for that Parent Plus loan. They have to be in good credit standing. And then after the second disbursement, parents have the option of going ahead and making payments on that parent loan, or they can postpone the payment until the students graduates college. There are private loans that are available at UNC Chapel Hill. We don't have a list or encourage students which private loan that they choose. That is completely up to them. I know in the past students and or parents have gone to their banks. They've reached out to Discover, Sallie Mae, different types of lenders. So you all have to do your research and decide if you are interested in a private loan, which one works best for you. Private loans are different from federal loans, and even for us as UNC loan, in that they may have different rates and terms. So again, make sure that you do your research on the private loan, and if you decide to go that route, you choose what's best for you. With our loans, you have to decide which one is best for you and your family, because it is financial aid has to be paid back, and it is and if you do not pay it back, it could damage your credit. There are additional scholarships. Students are considered for scholarships based on achievement at the time of admission. Again, there's no separate application. Two that we have here at UNC Chapel Hill are Robertson and Moorhead Kane, but they do have a separate application, and they have their own website for additional information about those two separate scholarships. And some scholarships have a need component. If you are looking at different types of scholarships, you need to make sure that you adhere to their deadlines, the information that you need to include in your scholarships, and you write a good, strong essay in that scholarship if they require that you complete one. We also have Excel at Carolina, where you can indicate interest on the common application whenever you apply to the university. And it's geared towards wanting to know a little bit more about you, your experiences, or assumed admissions into certain schools, such as business school. The net price calculator. This uses the same information you would use to complete the FAFSA and CSS profile. It estimates aid offer at Carolina, and each school is supposed to have this information on it. I know for Carolina that we cannot process your award offer until you've been formally admitted to the university. And this is just a way where parents and students can kind of estimate how much their college education will be for that year. It's based on the information that you provided, and it's only as accurate as the information that you include in it. Now, many schools have their timelines. that they have available and encourage students to adhere to. For us, we encourage students again to complete the FAFSA and the CSS Profile by March 1st. After you've been admitted, then you can review your award offer or complete additional information such as verification once you've been admitted to the university. You can use the budgeting resources and estimate your bill, and borrowing needs help make admissions decisions, and that is due by before May 1st. You also have a timeline of accepting your loans, completing loan requirements if you wish to borrow, and before the loan dispersed, you have to complete those requirements. Some things to consider whenever you're thinking about colleges to attend, your housing options. We budget that as for part of your cost of attendance based on double occupancy room. Your meal plan, not all students may have a meal plan, and that is fine. That is, a choice that's up to you. So if you decide not to include a meal plan, then you will not be charged for that. And that's a way that you can save costs. The non-bill expenses, such as your travel, your personal, etc., are all based on choices. Books and supplies, you could get creative. I think somebody mentioned about going to your bookstore. You could also check out Amazon. I can't think of any other place that you could check for, to get cheaper books. I think there's a website called cheapbooks.com, but a different place that you can definitely go. If you know some upperclassmen or someone that's taking the class before you, like maybe the semester before, borrow a book. You might can do that from one of your fellow classmates. There are different ways that you can save money. And then the last thing is you need to decide, do you need to borrow the money? Again, a loan is type of financial aid, and you have to look at it as an investment into your future. Many parents, many students, they come to school thinking that, they're going to get all the free money in the world, and your family situation may be completely different from the next person. And so you can borrow you could borrow the minimum, or you could borrow none, or you could borrow the max. But again, you have to be mindful of what you borrow and that it has to be repaid. Now, we do understand that after students have been awarded financial aid, or prior to them being awarded, there could be special circumstances that have occurred in their life, such as the changes in the family's finances. And we understand with the pandemic hitting everyone so hard last year, we understand that many families may have lost jobs and even may have lost loved ones. And so once you've been admitted to the university, been awarded financial aid, students can reach out to our office to let us know what the situation is and be reconsidered for financial aid. Our reconsideration process begins with completing what is called a needs analysis form, and then we'll review that information and see if you, the student, may be eligible for additional financial aid. So that process could take up to several weeks, but we will do our due diligence, review the information, and let you know if you're eligible for additional financial aid. Some final tips I would like to share with you all is use the university resources such as our office to ask questions. Even though we're not physically in the office, we are working at home, like I am today. You can still call our office, and we're answering the phones from home. You can reach us by email, and you can also set up a phone or a virtual appointment to speak with us about your financial aid or whatever you would like to talk with us about. Whenever you're completing applications, whether it be for admissions, whether it be for the FAFSA or the CSS Profile, make sure you have all your documents together so you don't have to keep getting up and down or asking mom and dad, where is this document, where's that document. Make sure whenever you are ready to fill out this information, you have all your documents in order, so it will not be a process that you start and have to start again, or that you may lose your place where you or didn't save the information, or you end up deleting the information by accident. When you complete your application, we may reach out to you once we receive your information and let you know if we need additional information. So always be checking your emails for information from UNC Chapel Hill, and from any school for that matter. We send emails out to students all the time about information, if there's been a change or if you're getting additional aid or what have you. So make sure that you check your emails constantly. And look at your own individual needs when making decisions. Carolina may be your school of choice, but you may be getting a better financial aid package at Wake Forest University or vice versa. So, you know, you have to decide with your parents which is the better fit for you. We would want you to come to Carolina. We would do our best to, you know, make sure you had the financial aid in place. But if Wake Forest or, you know, the other blue school up the road from Carolina is a good fit for you, or even the red school here in Raleigh, if it's a good fit for you, then, you know, you that's completely up to you. But we would love for you all to wear the Carolina blue and be with us as a Tar Heel family. That concludes my part of this presentation. Again, is it Benzo? Mr. Benzo from Wake Forest University. If I mispronounce it, I apologize. He will be speaking on behalf of Wake Forest University, and then we would gladly answer